All right, so we are up to Saturday games. And we've got 11 games tomorrow. We've got 2 early games. So it's not that bad for a Saturday. There's 2 early games, then there's 9 evening games. So that means you'll get 2 reviews tomorrow. You'll get 1 for the matinee games, and then you'll get 1 later on for the other 9 games, followed by the power rankings. And then I'll do the preview for Sunday after the power rankings. So it's gonna be a busy night tomorrow night, but it's worth it. All right. First up, Ottawa. So Ottawa's in against Philadelphia. This one starts at 10 o'clock my time, which is Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. Ottawa's 12-16-1 on the road. They're 5-11-1, so it's not a great record. Their goal differential is a -15. Philadelphia on the other side of things at 16-8-5. At home, they're 9-2-4, and they're a +10. So if you're the gambling type and you're looking at a game tomorrow and saying, all right, where do I want to get an easy win? It's probably here. But if you want to say, where can we stick an Akbar magnet right now? It's probably here. Philadelphia's been on an incredible run. And this is a really early game. So being a matinee game could be very loose and kind of sloppy. And therefore, this could be the kind of game that Ottawa goes in and grabs a victory. We'll see. Notable scorers for the teams is what I went with this time around. Connor Brown with 3 goals, 14 assists. He just broke a 17-game streak with no goals, so we'll see if he gets another one. Tierney with 3 goals and 11 assists. Zaitsev with 7 assists on the blue line for Ottawa. Goaltending numbers, Nilsson has a 7-7-1 record with a .911 save percentage. Anderson's 5-8-0 with a .903 save percentage. Hogberg was 0-1 during his call-up with a .925 save percentage. Probably earned himself another look later on in the year. On the Philadelphia side, notable, Giroux, 9 goals, 11 assists, 20 points, which is low for him. Considering the amount of games played, 20 points seems to be kind of low. Sanheim, 2 goals, 6 assists, very underrated defenseman for the Philadelphia Flyers, as is Justin Braun with 5 assists. It's been a really good team effort for Philadelphia to get to this record, and I thought I'd throw a couple of names on the board that I think have played a role in that. And I thought Braun had a goal last week. I was pretty sure he had a goal. Anyways, Hart, 9-5-3 record with a .910 save percentage. He will be the starter tomorrow. He is confirmed already tonight. Elliott, 7-3-2 with a .915 save percentage. It has been a pretty decent tandem for Philadelphia. So Carter Hart is the starter, but Elliott's a pretty capable backup as well. I anticipate, like I said, it's going to be an early game, so it'll may be a little bit sloppy. It could end up happening. Next up, this one starts at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. So this game will start after this game's already ended. I'm a big fan of that. And this game will end before all the other games start. Buffalo's in against Vancouver, and that's why I'm wearing my Vancouver skate jersey, the Pedersen, because 50th anniversary and all that. And the Canucks are supposed to wear these tomorrow. It wasn't a planned day for them to wear them, but you know what? It's our expansion brethren coming in. The only shame in this is I don't think Buffalo would be wearing their white jerseys. You know, the 50th anniversary with the golden buffalo on it. That would be a really sweet looking matchup, wouldn't it? Anyways, Buffalo's 13-11-5 overall. On the road, they're 5-8-2. Their goal differential is a +1. And again, they're looking for their December to be better than their January, and they're coming off of that loss in Calgary. Vancouver, 14 or better. They want it to be better than their November. I don't know how their January is going to be. I see the future. I don't. 14-11-4 is Vancouver's record. At home, they're 6-3-3. They have a +11 in the goals differential department. I think that 11 is against the Kings. I don't think that's against everybody else. But this is going to be an interesting one because Vancouver's had its struggles last month, as has Buffalo. Their expansion brethren. Their records are very similar to one another. And go. So tomorrow's going to be a really interesting matchup. I'm wearing Vancouver because it's the 50th anniversary now because I think they're going to win. I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo goes in and beats them. Honestly, this game could go either way. Johansson, 4 goals, 7 assists. Yes, I said Johansson because that's what his name was in New Jersey and in Boston. And if he's going back to Johansson, I apologize vehemently. But 4 goals, 7 assists for him so far this season. Sherry, 5 goals, 4 assists for him. Gergensons, 3 goals, 3 assists. I picked 3 guys that you would think would have more points to this stage of the season. and they may be overdue for a good game. Ullmark, 7-6-2 with a 914 save percentage. He's been pretty excellent this year. Hutton, up and down, but his overall numbers still even out. 6-5-3 record and a 908 save percentage. On the Vancouver side, Pearson, 8 goals, 10 assists. He is very, very streaky. Virtanen, 7 goals, 6 assists. Doesn't get the respect that he should. But again, it's because of where he was drafted. I think if he was a third-round draft pick, you'd look at that 7 goals, 6 assists and say what a great pick he was. And Zach McEwen, who's played 7 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. And I wanted to say Zach McEwen in a video because I was impressed with his play with Vancouver. Even though we've got everybody back and McEwen would be a cast-off, I still just wanted to mention him in a preview. Markstrom, 8-7-3 in net with a 913 save percentage. Very good considering what he's been going through. Demko, 6-4-1 with a 912 save percentage. Not pictured as DiPietro, who we hope doesn't get into any game action this season. Hopefully he gets all of his game action in Utica. So if Demko's starting tomorrow against Ullmark, that would be a really fun matchup too, especially wearing these wonderful jerseys. So could be a very fun game tomorrow between these two teams who came into the league together. Next up, Colorado and Boston will start the evening games, and this could be the game of the night. Colorado is 18-8-2, and they're relatively healthy now. 10-5-1 on the road, their goal differential's 8, and intimidating, plus 25. Whereas Boston, 23-6, at home they're 12-0-5, their goal differential's a plus 35. Keep in mind, with Boston's incredible record, they do have 6 losses in extra time. So they've won 20 out of 29 games. As strong as they've looked, and as impressive as that comeback was against Chicago, it ultimately was all for naught, and they can't keep relying on comebacks. If they do it against Colorado tomorrow, it's not going to go well. Colorado's notable scorers, Kadri, 10 goals, 10 assists. He's been excellent this season. Nieto, 5 goals and 7 assists, an under-the-radar player. Nichushkin, 3 goals, 3 assists. He's starting to show some life offensively, so I thought I'd throw him on the board because I'm fair. He's showing signs of life offensively. Why not put him up there? Grubauer's 10-5-2 with a 916 save percentage. Francouz 6-2 with a 927 save percentage. Those numbers are pretty good. Werner's 1-1 with a 914 save percentage. And Bibeau got in 1 win this year, 881 save percentage. Good on Antoine Bibeau. On the Boston side, scoring depth. Very important. Heinen, 5 goals, 8 assists. Corrali, 2 goals, 8 assists. Very underrated member of the Bruins. And Bjork, 4 goals, 3 assists, who I have to admit, at times this year has looked pretty effective. Goaltending, Rask's 13-2-3 with a 929 save percentage. Halak is 7-1-3 with a 934 save percentage. Overall, the goaltending has been excellent for Boston. The results have been excellent. They haven't lost a regulation game at home. As I've said for the last 3 or 4 previews I've done of a Boston home game, eventually they have to lose one in regulation. They've lost a couple in overtime, but eventually they have to lose one in regulation. Is tomorrow the day? If you're a Colorado fan, you're probably saying yes. And I wouldn't blame you for that level of confidence. I really wouldn't. Can't blame you at all. All right, moving along. Pittsburgh against the Penguins. This one again, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. They're in against Detroit. So coming off of what was a difficult win over Arizona, now they get to play Detroit, who have kind of rolled over. 16-9-4 for the Pittsburgh Penguins now. On the road, they're 4-6-2, so they haven't spent much time away from home. And as they start playing away from home, if they're below 500 away from home on the season, that's going to make things more difficult for them. But they have a goal differential of plus 20, which is impressive, and it is exceedingly better than the record, everything, Detroit. 7-20-3 at home. At home, they've won 4 out of 15. 4-10-1. So when you watch the Detroit game tomorrow and you go, there's a lot of empty seats, don't be surprised. This is a team that's just miserable at home. It's a Saturday night, and I'm sure there are people in Detroit that would likely want to be doing something else in the city of Detroit rather than watching a hockey game, which is something because from what I understand of the city of Detroit, it's not the grandest city necessarily in the United States. That being said, if you love the city of Detroit, good on you. Negative 56 is their goal differential. That's not great. That's pretty bad. Negative 56. There's no way I can brighten that up and say, hey, but if you're glass half full. There is no glass. There is no half full. There is only fire with that. And not the good fire either that you see on social media when somebody's good looking and you put the fire emoji. No, this is just fire. All of it. To the point where you're pretty sure Eugene Melnyk is somehow, some way responsible for it. On the Pittsburgh front, Cahoon, 7 goals, 9 assists. He's another one of those under the radar, having a very good season type players. Galchenyuk, 2 goals and 8 assists. He's been snake bit this year. He's got to get some goals sooner or later. Bluger, 3 goals, 5 assists. I love Teddy Bluger. Who doesn't? Matt Murray probably starts tomorrow. He's 9-5-4 with an 897 save percentage. Tristan Jarry, 7-4 with a 943 save percentage. Holy crap, Tristan Jarry. Back-to-back shutouts as well. You know what? If they go with Jarry tomorrow night, I really couldn't blame them. I really honestly couldn't. On the Detroit side, Athanasiou, 5 goals, 10 assists. He leaves you wanting a little bit more for the goal scoring side of things. Filppula, 3 goals, 9 assists. And Hirose, 2 goals and 5 assists for the Detroit Red Wings. In net, Bernier's 5-8-2 with an 897 save percentage. Howard, at the time of his injury, 2-11-1 with an 887 save percentage, and Pickard 0-1 with an 829 save percentage. Eric Comrie not pictured. He may very well be the 4th goalie to play a game at some point for Detroit. When? We don't know, but Detroit it's a mess. It's a real mess. The part that we forget is when we talk about this team just needs to tank and just tear everything down. We forget just how ugly that process can be, and in Detroit, we're really seeing it firsthand. That being said, I need to change boards. Now, San Jose. So the Sharks, who have had some up and down results over the last week or so, but you know what? They're still in pretty good shape. They're in against Tampa Bay, who are in less good shape right now. So San Jose's 15-13-2 overall. So they had the horrible start, they had the great run, and now we'll see where they're really at. On the road, they're 6-6-2. Their goal differential is still a -13. They got blown out a lot early in the season this year. On the Tampa Bay side, they're 13-10-3 overall. At home, they're a miserable 6-5-1. Compared to last year, 6-5-1 at home is just terrible. Their goal differential is +9. So if you're a Tampa Bay fan, you have to be wondering, who are these guys? What's going on? Is this just a couple guys get hurt and it throws everything off? What's going on with Tampa? Or is there something else going on under the surface? Or are they just waiting? That's going to be the theory. They're just waiting till January, and then they'll just flick the switch, Blues style, and everything will be fine. Scoring, again, notable scorers with each team. Tomas Hertl, 10 goals, 13 assists. He's had an excellent year, and almost nobody seems to be talking about it. Erik Karlsson, 3 goals, 19 assists. He was a disaster early in the season. I'm going to give him credit. He's really pulled up his socks over the last few weeks, and his numbers are pretty good. And Shemek, and if you talk to any Sharks fan, they'll tell you he is one of the most important people in their lineup. 15 games played, 1 goal, 3 assists for him. Goaltending, Jones is 12-9-1 with an 892 save percentage. He can't get over 900, can he? Dell is 3-4-1 with an 897 save percentage. Also can't get over 900 for the season. On the Tampa Bay side of things, Stamkos, 7 goals, 15 assists. Keep in mind, Stamkos' goals scored were low last season for roughly the first half, I believe, and then all of a sudden he just turned it on. So maybe he's going to do that again. Killorn, 7 goals, 11 assists. Very underrated forward who has better scoring instincts than I think he gets credit for as well. Sergachev, 4 goals, 12 assists. Don't look now, but that guy Montreal gave up to get Drouin has become a pretty good offensive defenseman. He does make some mistakes defensively, but his offensive instincts are fantastic. In goal, Vasilevsky, 10-8-1 with a 903 save percentage. He needs to get better. McElhinney is 3-2-2 with a 908 save percentage. I will get there. So yeah, I expect Vasilevsky and Jones tomorrow. But both of those goalies definitely are likely wishing they had better numbers than they do right now. This could be a very back and forth, wide open, high scoring game. Just throwing that out there. Just lobbing that out there. Could be quite the game. All right, moving along. Columbus in against Florida. And again, starting at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Or if you're in the Eastern time zone, 7, 7, 7. A lot of games starting at the same time tomorrow. They do this to me every Saturday. Columbus is 11-13-4. On the road, they're 3-5-3. So that's not good. And their goal differential is a -17. It's all woeful right now for Columbus. They're in against Florida, but Florida at 13-9-5, things are kind of shaky with them as well. They dropped to third in their division tonight behind Montreal. This is a game in hand they have on Montreal. They want to win it. At home, they're 7-4-2. Their goal differential is a -1. Notable scorers, Bjorkstrand, 6 goals, 9 assists. He's another one of those guys having a good season that's not really being talked about in Columbus. Jenner, 6 goals, 3 assists. You expect more points from Jenner when you see him play. And just in general, with Boone Jenner, we expect more, and it just doesn't really happen. Savard, 4 assists on the blue line for Columbus. Korpisalo's 11-10-1 with a .900 save percentage. Merzlikins can't buy a win. He's 0-3-3 with an .895 save percentage. And it has to be frustrating to him because he's played games where he deserves a win, just they don't score for him. On the Florida front, Connolly, 12 goals, 7 assists. He's been an amazing pickup in free agency for Florida. Hoffman, 10 goals, 8 assists. He's really dropped off after a fantastic start. And I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind it, but he's got to pick it up. Ekblad, 5 goals, 10 assists. I wanted to put him on the board because I think he's a pretty good player. And there was a video that was recommended. I didn't end up watching it, but it was the 10 worst number 1 picks of all time, and Ekblad was used for the thumbnail. And I thought, well, what if he's browsing around and sees that? And it's something that I consider now as a YouTuber, because I've seen hockey players that watch my videos comment, and I've seen former hockey players comment, and people who around the world of hockey have watched my stuff. So I'm really conscious now about what my topics are and what I use as a thumbnail. And I might use something as kind of a joke or kind of for a funny, but I won't actually say worst players and put a name and a face to it, because I don't know. I couldn't then meet that player or have that player make a comment on the video and not feel absolutely horrified. So it's one of those, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I've kind of taken that to heart lately over the last year, I would say, as a YouTuber, where I'm very conscious of that. So I wanted to throw Ekblad up there because I don't think he's one of the worst number 1 draft picks. And I think he's a pretty good defenseman. Is he what he was going to be when they drafted him? Probably not. But honestly, he's still a pretty good defenseman. He's still on pace for, 45, 50 points. That's not bad. Bobrovsky's going to start tomorrow. He's one of the few that was actually confirmed. 9-6-4 record with an .884 save percentage. Montembeault 3-2-1 with an .889 save percentage. And Drieger 1-1 with a .942 save percentage. So not bad for a replacement for Montembeault. Montembeault had a really nice run at the end of last year. But sometimes what happens with a goaltender, and when you see this, like, oh, he's really good, and then all of a sudden it falls apart, teams may get a book on that goaltender where they go, hey, he's weak on the blocker, he's weak on the glove side, he's weak to low, he tends to open up 5-hole if you wait long enough. Players/teams end up with these books on goaltenders, and that's why when a goaltender goes through the NHL that second time, it's like a pitcher in baseball that's trying to figure out the more times a pitcher goes through the rotation, the less effective they are. That's why in pitching now you see pitchers pitching a lot less innings, and they don't go that third time through the lineup, because that third time, hitters have figured it out. And that's kind of what happens with goaltenders too, where maybe you'll save shots that first game, maybe that second, but by that third time, some guys have figured you out. And that's where a goaltender ends up usually either going back to the minors, working with a goalie coach, and the really good goalies, they close up those weaknesses. So there you go. All right, next up, Minnesota in against Carolina. This is going to be a pretty game, isn't it? You got the wonderful white Minnesota jerseys, which are fantastic. Didn't mean to put that line in there. Carolina with their wonderful red jerseys, which are great. 14-11-4 is the record for Minnesota, who snuck up on everybody, me included. When I looked at the standings not too long ago, and I went, wait, they're 3 points out? How the heck did this happen? And it's just one of those things. They're 7-10-2 on the road, which still looks mediocre. They have a -4 goal differential. However, their record on the road is getting better, so don't take them lightly. Carolina's 17-11-1. They're 9-5 at home. They have a goal differential of +11. So Carolina, kind of up, kind of down. Depends on the day, depends on the period, depends on the game. That's why when Carolina plays Florida, it's crazy town. But they're playing Minnesota, and Minnesota can be hot and cold as well. Speaking of which, Fiala's the first scorer I want to look at. 6 goals, 9 assists. Sometimes a healthy scratch, sometimes a good scorer. Greenway, 3 goals, 7 assists. And Hartman, 3 goals and 4 assists for him. Hartman's prominent enough that you think he scores more, or he should. than he actually does. Stalock has been fantastic. So with Dubnyk having a down year and then having to leave the team and all this other stuff, Stalock's got an 8-3-2 record with a 910 save percentage. Dubnyk's 4-8-2 with an 893 save percentage. And don't look now, Kakkonen has won both of his appearances and he has a 950 save percentage. So, goalie controversy? Maybe. If Minnesota wants to make the playoffs, we may be looking at a problem with their goaltending. In that you may look and go, we're better off with Kakkonen and Stalock, aren't we? Which then gets a whole lot more uncomfortable. Carolina, Dzingel, 5 goals, 11 assists for him. He's had a very good run with Carolina. Foegele, 4 goals, 7 assists. He started getting some points recently as well. Wallmark, 3 goals, 5 assists. He's another one that seems prominent. You would think he'd get more points along the same lines as a Gergensons, Hartman, Nichushkin, and it just doesn't happen for whatever reason. Goaltenders, Mrazek's 12-6-1 with a 903 save percentage. Reimer's 5-5 with a 918 save percentage. I would think Stalock and Mrazek, unless Dubnyk was ready to go tomorrow, and then I would think to go to Dubnyk, but we'll see. For Minnesota, this is a big game. This is one of those big games. They won a big game over Florida. Now they get Carolina. We'll see if they can build further on that. And then tomorrow night when I do that power rankings board, they could have a pretty dramatic jump overall. I'm just throwing that out there for Minnesota fans. You may want to save your downvotes because you may not need them tomorrow night. All right. Next up, Toronto. It doesn't get easier for Toronto. Again, the 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific start. They're in against St. Louis. Toronto is 13-13-4, and all the excitement about Sheldon Keefe is still there. I think the players are still happy, but I think the reality of we're probably not going to run the table is hit. They're 6-9 on the road. They've got a -6 goal differential. There are problems with this team. There are problems with this roster, and that's when we turn back to Kyle Dubas and say, hey, this isn't fixed. St. Louis, 18-6-6 overall. They're 8-3-3 at home, so they're great at home. They're great on the road. They don't lose in regulation in either spot. They're +12 in their goal differential. Notable scorers, Kapanen, 8 goals, 9 assists. I think when they decide they need some cap room, I think Kasperi Kapanen may be the guy that ends up going. I don't think Johnson has the market value that Kapanen would have, and I don't see Nylander going anywhere. I think Dubas is going to stick with his promise that he's going to keep that core 4 players together, and I think Kapanen could very well be the guy. I'm not saying right now, I'm just saying at some point, you've got to get cap relief if you're Toronto. Tyson Barrie, 3 goals, 9 assists for him. He has been better under the new coach, but those numbers are still low for him. Gauthier, 2 goals, 3 assists. Very good fourth liner. Plays his role very well. I haven't heard any complaints from him about where he's at or what he's doing. Goaltenders, Anderson's been confirmed for tomorrow. He's 13-7-3 with a 918 save percentage. Hutchinson, 0-5-1 with an 876 save percentage. Kaskisuo got into one game before he got sent back to the American League. 842 save percentage for him. And they could use another goalie. And again, cap issues are a problem when it comes to Toronto. On the St. Louis side, Schwartz, 8 goals, 14 assists. Jaden Schwartz, you always think he scores more goals than he does. Parayko, 2 goals, 10 assists. He's been a beast. And the fact he's already got 12 points, he's on pace for over 30. That's just a bonus. Sanford, 3 goals, 7 assists. I think his totals are going to come up. Goaltenders, doesn't really matter who they go with. I would imagine Bennington. 13-5-4 with a 925 save percentage. Jake Allen is 5-1-2 with a 926 save percentage. And he's proving a whole lot of people wrong so far this year. A lot of them Blues fans who could not be happier to be wrong than they've been with Jake Allen. That being said, I need to change boards. All right, New Jersey. Yes, the New Jersey Devils. They get to play tomorrow. And after losing tonight at home against Chicago in a shootout, now they're going to go and play in Nashville against the Predators. What could possibly go wrong? This one starts at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. So there's an hour between games once we get past all of those 4 o'clock starts. 4 o'clock my time. Now, the New Jersey Devils are 9-14-5. On the road, they're 5-7. They're actually better on the road than they are at home. I witnessed it firsthand in Vancouver. They were pretty good in that game. They have a -33 in their goal differential. It's ugly. Notable scorers, we'll get to after I talk about Nashville. I've got to do this in the same order with each game or else it's just going to be chaos. chaos. You didn't announce that in the same order. I apologize. Nashville's 12-10-5. At home, they're 7-5-4. So they've lost more than they've won at home overall. Their goal differential is a +1. Nashville's a shocker that they're out of the playoffs. Absolute shocker. They have to turn it around. This is one of those, well, they have to win this one kind of games. It's the second game in 2 nights for New Jersey. For Nashville, they're rested. They have to win this one. They're at home, and they're against a team that isn't very good. Now, notable scorers for New Jersey, Nico Hischier, 5 goals, 11 assists for him. Gusev, 5 goals, 8 assists, and Zacha, 2 goals, 9 assists. So one question I have when it comes to Hischier and Zacha particularly, and maybe even Gusev, when you're playing on a team that's been this all over the place this year, does that help or hurt your development? And that's a question, especially with Hischier, who's envisioned as being a Patrice Bergeron type down the road. If that's the case, does it hurt him to be on this team that is this defensively challenged? Blackwood has an 8-8-4 record with an .899 save percentage. DeBank probably starts tomorrow. He has a 1-2 record and an .870 save percentage. So it's been rough for him. And that Buffalo game, there were a couple of goals. You don't allow those as an NHL goaltender. Schneider, of course, before he got sent down, was 0-4-1 with an .852 save percentage. On the Nashville side, Järnkrok, 10 goals, 8 assists. Nobody's talking about Calle Järnkrok. They should be. He has been one of the best scorers for Nashville. Johansson, 4 goals, 13 assists. You always expect more goals with Johansson. Ekholm, 4 goals, 9 assists. Didn't get off to the start he did last year. Last year, Matthias Ekholm got off to a great start offensively, but that's not really his game, so it's not really a big deal. He's still a solid defenseman. Pekka Rinne, 9-4-3 with an .899 save percentage. UC Saros, 3-6-2 with an .891 save percentage for the Nashville Predators. All right, moving along. Islanders are in against Dallas. This one starts at 6 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock Eastern. I envision very few goals in this game. The Islanders love to play a defensive game and sort of wait for mistakes to happen on the other side, and Dallas is back to can't score territory. So that tells me that this is probably going to be, if you're one that bets on the over or the under on the game, take the under on this one. Even if the under is like half a goal, take the under. 1-0 in a shootout. Islanders 19-6-2 overall on the road. They're 7-4-1. Their goal differential is a +15. Overall, very good season for them. Yes, they've slid a bit lately, but still one of the best teams in the league. On the Dallas side, 16-11-3. I have no idea what we're going to get from them. I really don't. At home, they're 10-4-1, which is solid. Their goal differential is a +4, so they're kind of eh. And again, are they in a playoff spot? Yes. Are they going to end up in a playoff spot at the end of the year? I don't know. Are they going to start scoring again? So, notable scorers on the Islanders side, Nelson, 9 goals, 12 assists. He's having a good season. Very good season. Devon Taves, 2 goals, 9 assists for him. And Del Cole, 1 goal, 2 assists. It still stands out to me that Del Cole, you would think, would get more points than he does. Goaltending, they'll just rotate. They're on a pace to rotate goalies in a form that hasn't been seen in decades. Grice, 10-3 with a .931 save percentage for Varlamov, 9-3-2 with a .923 save percentage. On the Dallas front, Jamie Benn, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points in 30 games. They need more overall. He had that hot streak a couple weeks ago. Now he's back into the colder side of things. Got to get that back. Radulov, 8 goals, 7 assists, 15 points. We'll see if he's back in the lineup tomorrow. But sometimes a team will win a game and then go, all right, we're not changing our lineup. And the Radulov thing, I'm going to be interested to see if he actually ends up getting traded. I would go that far. I think that Dallas may very well look at trade options with him if they're available. Janmark, 3 goals, 7 assists overall for him. And I like Matthias Janmark, so I threw him on the board. Goaltending on the Dallas front, Bishop, 10-6-2 with a .929 save percentage. Hudobin, 6-5-1 with a .922 save percentage. Hudobin doesn't get the goal support that Bishop does, but they both got decent records, and their save percentages are pretty excellent overall. So you look at the save percentages, you realize both of these teams have struggles with scoring at times. It's easy to envision this one being a 2-1 game, much like almost every game was tonight, as we saw the return of the Trap. Who knew? The Trap was coming back. Friday night's games, we saw a lot of defensive hockey and some great goaltending performances, which is fine. Some people love that, but for some, it's kind of going to be, is this a trend? We're into a different new month now, or is this a trend? Scoring does usually come down as the season wears on. All right, last game but not least. LA in against Calgary. The Kings, it's miserable away from home for them. There are the home Kings, which are pretty good, and there's the road Kings, who are not. They're 11-17-2 now. They're in against the Calgary Flames, who seem to be turning it around under Jeff Ward. Road record for the Kings now is 2-11-1, and their goal differential is a -24. Calgary, they're 14-12-4 at home. They're 8-3-2. Their goal differential is a disappointing -12, but an LA team that's on the second half of back-to-backs, this could be a very lopsided victory for Calgary. If they play it right, and if they play the way they did the other night, they'll win this. If they play LA the way they played Buffalo, they'll win this. But consistency with Calgary has been an issue over the year. We'll see if that is not a problem. Now, they got all new lines thrown together that last game, and it seemed like that really helped them as well. We'll see if it does the same tomorrow night. Carter, 8 goals, 4 assists, notable scorer for the Kings. I've liked his game a lot lately, I really have. Amadio, 5 goals, 5 assists. He's one of my favorite members of the Kings. We'll see if he gets another goal tomorrow night. He had one tonight. Lizotte, he had a goal taken off the board tonight. Would have been his 4th, so he's stuck at 3 goals, 7 assists for 10 points overall. Goaltending, Quick, 7-12-1 with an .884 save percentage played tonight. Probably Campbell tomorrow. Campbell's 4-5-1 with an .894 save percentage, so his numbers are actually a little bit better. On the Calgary front, Derek Ryan, 4 goals, 9 assists. Might be their best defensive forward overall. Can have the debate about whether it's Backlund or Ryan. Rasmus Anderson on the blue line, 2 goals, 7 assists for him. Pretty solid season on the way. And Frolik stands out as another one of those guys you kind of expect more points from at this point. 1 goal, 3 assists for Michael Frolik. Absolutely amazing. Goaltending, Riddick, 13-7-4 with a .914 save percentage. Cam Talbot, 1-5 with an .893 save percentage. The .893 save percentage isn't great. That 1-5 record, though, doesn't help because Calgary, you need wins. You get them with Riddick in net. You don't get them with Talbot. You don't want to say Talbot's bad, but you look at the overall record, you go, we got to get wins, so you kind of need to throw in Riddick. But if Talbot's going to get a start, playing at home against a Kings team that played last night would make a lot of sense. And by last night, I mean Friday night, and this being on Saturday night. Not that the Kings are playing 3 games in 3 nights or anything like that. So there you go. And if you're wondering about playoff matchups, they're right here. Going into the action tomorrow night, it would be the Capitals, Penguins, the Islanders against the Flyers, Boston against Carolina, Montreal against Florida. Montreal would actually have home ice in that. Bizarre. In the West, St. Louis and Minnesota, Colorado and Winnipeg, Edmonton against Dallas's Edmonton on Friday night, past Arizona again, so Arizona would be down to playing Vegas. And we will keep track of that because it's kind of fun from here in that some teams that are in those playoff spots, they may change dancing partners, or, well, just dance partners. But in terms of the overall picture, some of these teams are there to stay for the rest of the year. And it'll be fun to track that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.